So if you experience delays on your system, that it takes time from for a shot to appear on the monitor after it's fired, there is very few places in the system this delay can actually occur, but one of the places is the communication link between the firing line and the target line. So what is happening is that if a shot, for instance, is sent from the target server to the SDU, and if something is happening, the data is getting corrupt on the way, the target will actually resend the data once more a little bit later. It will wait for a short time and resend the data. And this is not an ideal situation. It might not be an issue if you have a few 1, 2, 3 shooters on the firing line, but if you have a lot of shooters and probably rapid fires and so on, it's going to be more delays as we are not having enough capacity to get all the data through, and the data is basically getting piled up in the target server. And then you might experience significant delays of shots getting to the monitor. So if you experience this kind of delays, one way to find out is actually to observe the comm LED on your SDU, at least to make sure that the communication cable between the firing line and target line is okay. So if you have one shooter or two shooters on the firing line and they shoot in a slow pace, try to link the shot to the flash, and make sure that for each shot which is fired that you only have one flash. So we can give an example right now. I'm going to generate a shot like this, and you could see a series of very rapid flashes. That's how it's supposed to look for one shot. If you will have half a second break and then it starts over again and over again and over again, there is something spooky going on. And in almost all cases, this is due to the communication cable going between the firing line and the target line. We have seen cases where the cable which has been used is a wrong type. It might be an indoor cable which is buried or even put in conduits underground, where water will be occurring, and even though you have a plastic or rubber sheeting on the cable, it will penetrate the cable and over time change the properties of the cable, and this might destroy the signal carrying capabilities of the cable. And even though we can measure it for resistance and so on, it looks okay. Signal wise, it might be completely defect. Another thing we have seen is that quite often, or not often, but it happens, we have clubs who thinks that these signal cables, very thin wires, are too thin, so they put a lot of wires in parallel to make sure that it's a lot of copper in between these two boxes. This is not necessary. Signal cables are normally having pairs of conductors, and this one pair is two wires which is revolved around each other, and it's important to use that one single pair for this communication. The other pairs, put them aside and leave them for spare or for other use, but use only one pair of signal conductors in a signal cable. And if you want to bury the cable or whatever, use cable which is meant for that kind of use, probably grease filled and armored if you want to bury it directly.